Hi, my name is Matt Carroll with World Class Coaching. With the help of Academy Sports Coach 2023. Today, I want to talk to you about a session that I've designed about transitional rondos. And where I got a lot of the ideas for this session is from the book we have available on the website called 30 Transitional Rondos. So I'll put this into the comment section so you can check it out on your own. But the book, says it right here. What you're going to find in here, look at different transitional phases, why intensity is critical in transition rondos, and how to incorporate it. And you can read through this on your own. But just generally kind of going to a bunch of different ways you can take rondos and implement them to utilize within the transition phase of your game. So what I have here is, we're talking about intensity. This is going to generate intensity. It's going to start off a little slower, but I really like this rondo because it's very, very competitive. And it shows in the transition phase, especially the defensive transitional phase, how if one person really isn't doing what they need to, especially in the counter pressing, they're going to make mistakes that are going to hurt other people on the team and leave people vulnerable. So what I have here is I will have a regular rondo right here, and I have four, but you can have however many you need. You have two in the middle, whatever kind of works best for your dome. Just for the numbers, I did this. So we have a rondo going on with the four guys in black, and then one yellow player in the middle that is then defending. So if the player in yellow is able to intercept the pass, what happens is every player in black now needs to block passing lanes. There's a player behind them in yellow that's looking to receive. Now, you can use cones and box it off. I just generally have it kind of fluid. It's really whatever works for best for you and your team. But as soon as this ball is lost, these players need to press, but also worry about blocking the passing lane to one of these guys over here. So let's say ball's lost. This player presses. He moves here, okay? And this player is able to get the pass off. What happens is the player that was in the middle comes to the outside. The player that was behind them won the ball. They go in the middle, and this player that won the ball goes into the rondo. And so what you're going to see is if let's go move everybody back to where they were. And there's a ball here. Good. If this player loses the ball, this player then is able to transition, right? And he goes over here. He doesn't press. This guy slips in, and he's able to play this pass. He lost the ball. He didn't step in pressure, but he has to go in the middle, okay? So he kind of gets screwed over here because these two players didn't do what they were supposed to do. Poor turnover, no press in this situation, allows for space, and allows for that. So it's got some colorful nicknames from some of the players, and it gets pretty intense because as soon as the ball is lost, you don't want to be the guy to give up possession. You don't want to be the guy that gives the passing lane, and you don't want to be the one that screws your buddy over because he's going to be pretty upset about it. So I really like this transition round. It was a great competitive warm-up to talk about the defensive transition phase and even the offensive transition phase. So if you win the ball back off this player in the middle, okay, you can get right back in and find your shape. So you're pressing, right? We're pressure, cover, we're here, we're marking passing lanes. We win the ball back, we immediately want to get back into our shape and create our width and our depth and get back into that attacking shape that we had before. So I think it's a great transitional rondo warm-up to start teaching the fundamental concepts you're trying to get into with your transitions. This is another bread and butter session, a drill I like to run where we have a line, cones here. It's generally is going to be, I'm sure you've done something like this, but I think it's just such a classic drill, and you can teach so much out of it, especially in the transition phase. You're going to have 5 players in this grid, and you're going to have 5 players in this grid. And let's say black starts with the ball, okay? And it's a 5v5 as a 5v3. I like to call it, players decide to name it Cinco just because there's so many 5s in there. But we send 3 players over here to press in this grid, okay? So generally what's going to happen is black is going to get the ball. They're going to use their width. They're almost going to create a rondo within here, okay? They'll create the rondo. It's a little more fluid than a regular just a circle, but it should develop that way if you're utilizing all the space available, maybe someone checking into the middle here. But generally you're going to have a rondo here. Now, if yellow wins the ball, they're able to transition over to their side. They play. We should have a player producing depth. We should have a player here as a target. And we're going to get the ball into yellow. And all 5 yellow players transition and get into the rondo over here. And black is going to send over 3 players. Now, the way you can make this a little more difficult, if you feel that it's not challenging enough, is you can have the two black players over here. If yellow is able to complete 5 passes, now black is able to send their player over, another player over, and if they can't still win the ball, you send another 5 after 5 passes. So you got a 5v5 rondo in a very short space. So you're almost demanding a transition here. But I think this drill creates a lot of situations off the break. I really like talking about if we win this ball and you got 5 in black over here, okay, to 5v3, they're going to press you. So I like the concept here. If this guy, let's say, wins the ball here, okay, he is going to be pressured pretty quickly. It's a 5v3. These 4 players are going to collapse and try to win the ball, right? So immediately, as we can go forward, let's go forward. If this passing lane is wide open, great, let's go forward. But, I just want to get rid of that. If we can go forward, great. If not, and they're blocking it, let's find an outlet. Okay, you're immediately under pressure. You just won the ball. Find an outlet that relieves pressure to go forward. And that's one of the key concepts I really like to get out into Cinco, is that it's not just, we won the ball, we have to go forward. Well, if going forward isn't the best option because the passing lane's blocked off, let's find an outlet and move that way. Similar concept in this next one. So what we'll have is, we'll again split. There's no reason that's blue, it's just there. We'll have 3 defenders here. And we'll have, let's say, 4 players in black over here. And we'll have another 4 players in black over here. And what we have here is balls played into this grid. These guys immediately, again, will get the rondo shape, get the circle, and 2 guys will press, okay? If they're able to complete 5 passes, they're able to transition the grid. So they're able to take this ball and pass it over to their side. If that happens, immediately this player in yellow that was out presses, one other player presses, and one other player releases. You can do it where you have 2v2, but I like this concept of, we're out of shape, okay? We have a defender here, and we have a defender on the other side. How quickly can these 2 guys get into a position where they're able to apply pressure and cover and recognizing the situation? So the ball's played out here. Obviously, this player is closest, so he'll put pressure. But how quickly can this player recognize where he is, his body shape, where the pressure's going, and get into a position to cover and try to pick off a pass? Then immediately what you can do is you transition it out, and then now if this team won the ball, they go into this grid, and the team that lost the ball game comes out, and they're the defensive pressure team. And sometimes that works a little bit better when you have even numbers. I just like the idea of losing your shape and then quickly finding it in the defensive transition, okay? Ball's over here. Can we transition to the other side of the field and quickly get over there? And then what I would do is I would just start with a small-sided game from here, where you have lots of transitions, lots of turnovers, and then move to this full-sided game and really hammer home a lot of the concepts that you've been really focusing on in your transition rondos. I'd like things I talked about was finding out outlet when we win the ball, applying immediate pressure, blocking off passing lanes, your defensive responsibilities in that transition moment. In the comments, I'd love to hear some of the things that you do, some of the key things you focus on when you discuss the transition moments of the game and how you can use rondos to implement that. For world-class coaching and Academy Sports Coach 2023 and the book 30 Transition Rondos, which I'll put in the comments section, I hope this session finds you well.